Hi, this is Bob Maloney from Miracle Products. Today we're going to discuss some advanced techniques for using the Vans Instant Gun Blue. The normal methods are fairly straightforward, but what about parts that you could dip that are small enough, or even full guns? The easiest way to do this is to degrease and prep the metal as normal, and then dip it into a bowl of the Vans Gun Blue. Or if you're doing an entire barrel as an example, get a PVC pipe, cap one end with a glued on cap. On the other end, glue in a threaded insert and put a threaded cap on the other end. Pour a quart in there, leave some head space. Now when you've got a barrel prepped, uncap it, slide the barrel into that tube until the liquid level is above the end of the barrel. If you don't have that much liquid in there, you can cap it and then tip the tube back and forth to slosh the bluing over the entire piece. After about 30 seconds of soaking, check it. Open it up, pull the piece out. You'd be surprised how quickly this bluing method works. It's more effective than rubbing it on with a toothbrush. So the timing is much quicker. If you leave the metal in that liquid too long, what you're going to have is some pitting because you are dealing with an acid here. So quick is the key. You can always dip it a second time if you need to. So dipping is another alternative to the hand rubbing it in with a toothbrush. There's another area of concern, and that is that a lot of the receivers on guns are a different alloy of steel than the barrel. So the barrel blues up real good, and then it's hard to get the receiver as dark as the barrel. Here's a nifty little way of solving that. If it's absorbing the bluing and turning dark, but it's just not dark enough, what you want to do is this. Apply the bluing, wipe it dry, and do not oil it. Oiling would stop it right there. But take that piece and put it in a humid area. Laundry area, sweat box, anything like that. And let that sit until it forms a light film of rust. When I say light, I mean so light you could wipe it off with your thumbprint. We're not talking about it rusting so you're getting some minor pitting in it. Wipe that rust off. Now, soak the bluing in again. Fresh bluing, wipe that off, let it sit until it rusts again. What's happening is you're going to have more penetration because the moisture in the air is continuing to allow that bluing to work, and it shows you when it's breaking down when it begins to brown rust. So all that period of time when normally it would be oiled and inert, it's continuing to soak in. The further it soaks in, the darker the metal becomes. This may dull that surface down slightly. Because of the repetition of it, you're etching the metal just slightly. So, before you oil, when you've got the color you want, just lightly steel wool it with 4/0 steel wool, and then oil it, and you'll be able to get that receiver as dark as the barrel. What if the receiver is aluminum, or you have an aluminum trigger strap, or a stainless steel part, or pot metal barrel bands? If it can't rust, it can't be blued. And so now you're stuck. We've got an answer for that as well. Go down to Pep Boys or Napa or Champion and pick up some high temperature engine paint. It's designed to hold to an aluminum engine block on a NASCAR race engine at 2,000 degrees. It's going to hold up. The trick is get it in a spray can, spray the metal so lightly that it doesn't even turn gray. Let it dry. Spray it again, like you're airbrushing it. If it takes 2, 3, 4 coats to get it dark, you're doing it right. You want this as thin as humanly possible. That makes it as strong as humanly possible. When you've got it dark enough, you can just end there. But if you want extra durability, take that part, put it in your oven at the lowest temperature your oven goes to, about 150, and bake it for about 10 minutes. Let it cool normally, and you'll swear you sent it back to the factory. Because you're putting it on so lightly, that means that satin finishes, like Park Rising, will stay satin. Shiny finishes will stay shiny. Remember, texture counts. Now, what if you've got an old gun that's all grayed out from use and it's got a bad spot? You fix the spot, now you have a white spot in a gray field. If you blue that, according to the normal instructions, you'll have a black spot there. That's not necessary. You can adjust that. Here's how you do it. Temperature up makes it work faster. Temperature down makes it work slower. So what you do is put the piece in the refrigerator, get it cold, now blue it. And what happens is it slowly blues, it soaks in slower, so you can stop it while it's still gray, and with a little bit of practice you can match those old finishes and not make them look too new or too dark. Here's another thing that you can do. What if you have a gun that's got some brown patina on it and you have to repair it in an area, or it gets scuffed in an area, and now you have white metal? If you blue it, you're going to have blued metal and no patina. So we're going to play a little trick. What we do is blue that normal. Follow all the normal rules. Blue it, wipe it dry, and now put it in a humid area and let it rust just a little longer than you would rust for darkening an alloy. Instead of a light wipe it off with your fingerprint rust, let it just a hair longer. Now, wipe that off and oil it, and what you'll have is you'll have a little brown left over in the blued area, so it will match the patina left in the rest of the gun. And that takes just a little practice, but you can do it on multiple occasions until you get it right. If it's not brown enough, you can just do that again. Degrease it, add a little bit of bluing, and then let it sit until it gets that very light rust. And that way you'll be able to retain the patina. If you have a gun that's been through a fire, there's a special need for that gun to get it to blue correctly. The smoke from the fire is highly alkaline, which is why you can have a gun that looks utterly perfect and then hit it with water from the fire hose and all the bluing washes off. It's the film of smoke that is on that metal. It's highly alkaline. When water hits it, it's like washing the gun with Drano. It takes all the bluing off. That also means that that gun's harder to blue. The bluing is a mild acid. Alkali kills it off. Well, if you picture a pore of that metal like this is lined with the smoke, and that's highly alkaline. That gun was hot, and so that pore was wide open at the time that that smoke was laid down. When you get it at room temperature, that pore is closed up a lot because of the temperature change. So now when you degrease, you get oil off the top, but in that pore is still some alkaline. You put the bluing on, and it doesn't get very dark very easily. So what I do in those cases is I'll wash the gun that I know has been through a fire. I'll wash it with my normal degreaser. But then I will warm it up and wash it with a mild acid. Could be something as simple as vinegar, but any mild watered down acid. Wash that gun with that while the metal's warm. The acid will neutralize the residue of the alkaline smoke that's in the pores of that metal. Now rinse that all up very thoroughly and wipe it dry. Now go ahead and blue according to the normal instructions, and the bluing will work much, much better because it's not fighting the alkali that was in there. If you have a gun that no matter what you do, it spots and streaks, do this. As you apply the bluing normally, wash the grease off, soak the bluing of the toothbrush, and you're having problems with it spotting, take 4-0 steel wool, dipped in the bluing, and wash that area where it's spotting or streaking. Then wipe that off and go back to your toothbrush. The steel wool and the bluing helps open up the pores of that metal so it'll accept the bluing better and it evens it all out. Then just follow your normal quenching with oil. If you have any questions or problems when you're dealing with a gun and something's not working the way you intend it to, give me a call at 1-800-215-2644. You get me, not an answering machine in Pakistan, and I'll help you. Tell me what's going on. We'll work it through to help you get where you want to go. In any case, this bluing will work on everything that can rust and on nothing else. You have any questions, you give me a call. Thank you.